technology,
science,
space,
environment,
people.
places.
It's all totally awesome. Today on Totally Awesome, we're going to meet Pino, a pint-sized robot who has become an overnight celebrity.
Take a ride on an awesome new machine. This airboard is set to keep you in a spin.
Check out the amazing Eye in the Sky, London's greatest engineering feat.
And go to the desert in search of a snow skiing holiday.
These windmills produce power. They're a little different from the traditional windmills that were used to grind grain to make flour. Their role, however, has become an important issue in our world. They are one of the most natural ways to produce electric power that can be used in the home. Experts are predicting that in the UK they will produce more than 2,000 megawatts of wind energy by the end of 2005. That's enough power to meet about 1.6% of the country's electricity demands. With the race on to create a clean, green and more sustainable fuel, the windmills are coming up on top. People are also starting to see the need for this type of technology if we are to stop the destruction being done to the ozone layer. Britain currently produces enough wind energy to power more than 250,000 homes. That's expected to increase 5 times over by 2005. Britain is one of Europe's windiest places, and that's not from all the beans they eat. Wind power is playing a huge part in the plans to produce 10% of the country's energy from renewable sources by 2010. Let's all get behind this type of technology to help save our world.
These computers are destined to a new life. They're being repaired, renewed, repackaged and sent off to schools and new businesses around the world. Because computer technology is changing all the time, computers like these ones become outdated and businesses usually throw them away. Recycle It, that's the company's name, has a better idea. They're getting these machines back into the world while helping disadvantaged groups at the same time. Recycle It is a non-profit making enterprise. It refurbishes around 400 computer systems a month. More than 230 businesses have donated IT equipment so far. Once the computers have been rebooted, they're sent to countries all around the world, like Uganda, Ghana and recently to Jamaica. It's here they're put to good use, bringing the students into the 21st century. It's a simple idea, but like many simple ideas, it's a good one and has the power to transform people's lives around the world.
Defence Force clothing may not be your idea of must-have fashion items, but the science that goes into making these garments sturdy, safe and warm is a designer's masterpiece. From combats to ceremonials, military clothing and equipment has to be fit for purpose, practical and affordable. From its base, this lab is responsible for what the armed forces are wearing, sleeping in and carrying. The agency serves a special customer who needs protection against both the elements and battlefield hazards. From nuclear, biological and chemical warfare to everyday wear and tear. Every item of kit is tested to breaking point. It almost sounds perfect as kids wear too. After speaking with the soldiers, it was found that what matters to them was that their kit is durable and robust enough to cope with full-time service life. A whole range of tests ensures it's comfortable, it fits together properly, that it's fitted with infrared reflectance, that it will stand hard knocks, and stay dry. Requirements that are not easy to meet, especially when you're throwing yourself in the dirt all the time. The service's operational kit has earned respect worldwide. The soldiers were among the first to wear infrared reflecting webbing, undetectable in the dark, even with night sights. The battle with the sleeping bag proved more difficult. Personnel wanted it lighter and more compact. Not easy when you are designing for a soldier to sleep in temperatures as low as -32 degrees. And good news for the medics. Several new pieces of kit have been designed to make their lives easier. When it comes to camouflage, the agency is always looking at ways to make its service men and women less vulnerable. Do you think that the plants are a designer model too? It's an area of clothes design that we don't stop to think about much. But you know, science is involved in some very unusual fields.
Here at this conference, viewers were introduced to the latest in robot design, named Pino. He's only 70 centimetres tall, but after starring in Japanese Hikaru Utanda's recent music video, Can You Keep a Secret?, the little thing has caught the attention of the public. ZMP Inc., a new Japanese venture firm, decided to help market a series of Pinos for personal or household use. They have recently been made available to the public. Pino runs on a Pentium 3 733 MHz chip and at the moment can only walk on two legs and move around. ZMP is hoping that its friendly looking design will form the basis for the development of robots that interact with humans. The robot has mates too. They include Honda's two-legged humanoid robot called Asimo and Sony's entertainment pet droid, Abo. While he's unable to make your bed or do the dishes, he's cute and a pop star after all.
It's rubbery and floats on air. It can move, spin, and it looks like great fun. It's an airboard. Something you would usually see on a movie is now a reality. Built by an Australian inventor after his son asked for a hovering skateboard, the airboard has finally made it off the drawing board. Airboard made its debut at the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in Sydney. But now it has arrived in Europe, and Airboard Europe Limited are keen to make it available to as wide an audience as possible. The board itself is fairly simple to operate. Armed with only an accelerator, most people will get to grips with it within minutes. Steering depends on weight transfer of the rider, and braking is a matter of easing off the accelerator or transferring your weight again. At a cost of £17,000, most people won't be able to afford to buy one and take it home. But Airboard Europe will be travelling the country selling the airboard experience to anyone who fancies a go. For student Polly Altram, it was a nerve-wracking experience. Well, I was quite nervous about getting on at first, and it was slightly harder work than I expected, but it was really good fun, she said. After only a few minutes instruction and no previous experience, Polly soon learned how to ride the airboard and was speeding over the tarmac. After 15 minutes, she had even mastered the tricks of 360-degree spins and sharp 90-degree turns. This board has a top speed of 30 kilometres an hour and was designed for tarmac, but other modified boards are in the pipeline that could be used on water, ice or snow and have a top speed of up to 70 kilometres per hour. There will also be a scaled-down children's version. The airboard runs on a 9 horsepower 4-stroke petrol engine, and with a full tank of 5 litres will run for up to an hour. David Needham, Director of Airboard Europe, has had plenty of practice over the last few months and showed off his tricks after explaining how he hopes the airboard could soon become an extreme sport. But don't expect to be popping down to the shops on an airboard or using one to pick up your friends. Instead, they will be available for use at an airboard centre. Airboard Europe hope to see a number of centres springing up around the country in the future. But if you can't wait for all that, you can buy the airboard experience at www.airboardeurope.com.
The idea was conceived as an entry for a competition for Millennium architecture in Britain. But when the competition was scrapped, the designers were so convinced of its worth, they went ahead with the project anyway. In its short life so far, the Millennium Wheel, better known as the London Eye, has become Britain's top tourist attraction and is second only to the Eiffel Tower in Europe. Dawn over the River Thames and the skyline is marked by London's newest icon. The Millennium Wheel, affectionately known as the London Eye, opened in March 2000 to support and scepticism. In just 15 months, the sceptics have melted away and the Eye has a busy day ahead. An army of cleaners start work at dawn, giving each of the 32 capsules a thorough going over, inside and out, to ensure a smudge-free view. The high-quality glass deters dirt from sticking and only deionised purified water is used to avoid streaking and ensure no harmful discharge enters the Thames. Everything is perfect for the first visitors at 9 a.m. They board their bubble and float above the capital to be wowed by the best views of London. At 135 metres high, the Eye is the tallest structure in London open to the public. The view is distinct and unimpeded. It's an uninterrupted panoramic view for 40 kilometres. The Wheel's architects and designers, husband and wife team Julia Barfield and David Marks, wanted their monument to the Millennium to be celebrated, a structure for people to participate in and find uplifting. And it's sure uplifting. As the sun gets higher and the sky brighter, more people are drawn to the Eye. It's the busiest time of the day and crowd management strategies are needed. The London Eye has elevated more than 4 million people above London. Its busiest day last year saw 20,000 visitors take a ride. To cope with the queries of so many, the Eye has a secret weapon. John Richards is one of 8 customer service personnel. In his time helping visitors to the Eye, he's heard a lot of strange requests. There was one lady, she asked me if she was strapped in because when the pod goes upside down, she'd fall off, he said. The comment drew gales of laughter from the Eye's designer. Obviously, I explained to her that none of that happens and there's a special tilt mechanism that means the capsule is always level, even when it reaches the top, and she went away quite happy, said John. It just goes to show how adventurous people really are. As the day continues and the crowds thin out, the capsule starts to carry people who have hired them out for corporate functions or other special occasions. Last month saw the Eye's first wedding on board, and 7 more sky-high marriages are planned for the coming months. The breathtaking views of London seem to enhance a special occasion. Tonight, Carl Goodmanson, visiting from Australia, has been surprised with a 30th birthday treat.
Happy birthday, dear Carl. Happy birthday to you. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
Julia and David are proud of overcoming one of the most difficult engineering problems of making sure that none of the eye's structure spoiled the view. As night draws in and the day trippers go home, the wheel doesn't stop turning. It's time for maintenance and safety checks. But in 3 of the other pods on the wheel, it's lights, camera and action. This is a creative group who are making an Audi car commercial. They've hit on the idea of promoting the A2's lightweight structure. A heavier car would have breached the eye's weight restrictions. Special arrangements had to be made to get the car on board. The doors of the pod were removed to manoeuvre the car into position with a hair-raising margin of 1.5 millimetres on either side. The sight of the car lodged in the pod on the London's Eye caused a stir with visitors during the week's shooting. In the same week, both the Eye and the Audi won prizes for their own category in this year's Design and Art Directors Award. London's Millennium Wheel has now become part of the landscape. It's a familiar view from many areas of the capital. While it's only had planning permissions to be on the Thames South Bank for 5 years, it has an engineering lifespan of 50. And the final word from the designers? It's also designed so you can take it down and move it. Although I suspect most people would want it to stay. But if it did have to move, it would probably go to the United States or somewhere else. I don't think it would be placed somewhere else in London, said Julia. The London Eye is one of the most imaginative and awesome projects of the new millennium. Its 7 years in the making have delivered modern solutions to difficult design and construction challenges. The result is a spectacular new landmark that has been lovingly adopted by one of the world's most famous capital cities.
How about a trip to Dubai for a snow skiing holiday? It's not really the image you have of a hot desert country, but I guess the people in Dubai have worked on the theory, if you can't be at the snow, then bring the snow to you. The Dubai-based Landmark Exhibitions opened Snow World recently, where children and adults can enjoy more than 400 tonnes of snow and ice all year long. Snow World is located in a huge tent-like structure in the middle of Dubai's Creek Park. Outside, a camel takes children for rides in the sweltering heat, while inside, visitors wear heavy coats to look at massive ice sculptures in sub-zero temperatures. The exhibition has attracted tourists from many Gulf Arab countries such as Saudi Arabia. Most of the visitors to the exhibits have never seen snow before. They have come to have a toboggan ride or even skiing lessons in ideal conditions. Yosef El-Hendi, Vice President of Landmark Exhibitions, says the exhibit is the first of its kind in the Middle East. The ski slope, which is 10 metres wide and 45 metres long, cost $400,000 and took 4 months of continuous work to build. Landmark Exhibitions is also planning an even bigger extravaganza in 4 years' time. A $3 million ski slope which will be 1 kilometre long. What we have done is a challenge for nature. As you know, it's 45 plus degrees outside, and inside here we have a temperature of between -7 and -10. And this is something that hasn't been done before, and we're very proud of it. And people are just having fun. They read in school about skiing and snow and snowmen abroad, so now they can actually experience it before they go there, said Hindi. Dubai is a major city in the United Arab Emirates. It's thought to have been settled more than 3,000 years ago. Because it is a desert state, its main industry comes from oil. Because of the wealth in Dubai, locals get to enjoy a lot of modern recreational facilities. This snowfield just adds to the growing sports buildings. So maybe Dubai is going to be the next hot ski location.
The San Diego Zoo has a fantastic new exhibit, 2 young polar bears. The brother and sister pair, Kaluk and Takquik, made themselves at home in the zoo's enclosure. Crowds looked on as the polar bears explored their new surroundings and ventured into the 130,000-gallon chilled pool. The orphan cubs were rescued from the wild in Barrow, Alaska recently after their mother was harvested by an Alaskan native hunter. Employees of the San Diego Zoo said they're very excited to have the 2 orphan cubs in their famous polar bear exhibit. After examining the cubs, wildlife biologists said they would not have survived on their own in the wilderness. Polar bears are found throughout the Arctic, with the majority found throughout the polar basin. They tend to hunt seals and use leads and water channels as platforms for hunting. It's thought that the polar bear population is between 21,000 and 28,000. And because of government regulations on hunting, the population has grown from the estimated 10,000 in 1968. Enclosures like this one allow visitors to experience the animal's habits firsthand. It also offers protection to 2 little bears that would have never survived on their own.